Hey folks, so we all have this one awkward situation in mind when it comes to remembering an unpleasant cosplay shooting. The photographer intensely stares at the screen of their camera just like they wanted to draw the picture only with the power of their mind, and the cosplayer shyly freezes in an uncomfortable pose, not knowing how they look like right now and what to do. And as the photographer goes on with the shooting, they're wondering why the cosplayer seems more and more hesitant to follow the instructions and why they got that questioning expression on their face. So what can we do about that? In this video we are going to talk about the most important part of every cosplay shooting or stage shooting in general, and this is communication. This may sound like a very simple thing to do because we all talk and stuff, but maybe you have experienced yourself that good or bad communication makes or breaks the whole shooting. For me personally, good communication and making others feel comfortable is the one thing that sets you apart from others. It's not about being the best photographer or the most talented cosplayer. I think good communication is way more important than that. So whether if you're a photographer or cosplayer, I hope this video helps you out on both sides to build trust, have a good shooting experience, and get the results you both want. So let's start with the base. As humans, we need some sort of communication to feel seen, respected, and simply comfortable. Communication builds trust, and this is what we want. No matter how many pictures you take, how short the shooting is, if you know the person, or if the photographer or cosplayer is in some way experienced, a pro or a beginner. Communication and trust are always the key. And I can tell you from my own experience as a photographer working with a lot of unexperienced people in front of the camera, that you should always start by this. Always make the human connection first. It doesn't matter if you photograph a supermodel or the person next door, who can also be a supermodel, of course. If you're planning out a big shooting or just want to take some quick convention shots. This connection is your base, and here is how you can build it. By sharing trust, showing respect, and making the other person feel comfortable. I'm going to share with you now some tips on how to achieve these three things through good communication so that they can become a part of your routine when you're taking pictures or being photographed. Sometimes we tend to create a certain image about the other side in our heads too fast. We think, oh, they're a cosplayer, they surely know how to pose, and of course the photographer is always knowing what they're doing. And then there is this special expectant attitude created. I think you know what I'm talking about. This wall of silence in between the two of you, where both of you are secretly thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing here and what to do next, and I can't talk about it because this isn't what people who want to look professional are supposed to do. So the first thing I want to share with you for building trust is to open up and don't pretend. This is just exhausting for both sides. And I've experienced this so often, especially with other photographers who were draining all their energy by pretending to be totally professional while they actually still needed those moments to learn and to grow. Cosplay and cosplay photography as a hobby and in general is meant to be fun and relaxing, and there shouldn't be any pressure that you put up yourself or from the people around you. You are the only one to set the frame on how you want to enjoy that hobby or passion. If you're a beginner, that's totally fine. It doesn't change the worth of your creation, because what you are creating right now is already the best you can create right now. Just imagine that pressure you lay upon yourself being taken away by only saying, hey, you know what, I'm a beginner, I'm not so experienced yet, but I would love to create something together with you. Only this already sets a connection between the two of you, because opening up and being honest builds trust. And we remember, this is what we want. When you both know what you're at, you can get really creative because you don't waste time thinking about how to pretend that you know what you're doing all the time. Now let's go on with the second point on our list, showing respect. And this is not only meant to be respectful in a way that you don't see the cosplayer as a nice looking puppet that you can use for your portfolio, or using the photographer as an elongation of your arm. It's about talking and listening what you both want from the shooting, and of course what you don't want. It all starts with the kind of picture you want to take. A quick overall costume shot at a convention, a special pose typical for that character, a special scene or an emotion you want to capture, but also what kind of pictures you already got tons of, maybe both as a photographer and as the cosplayer. That special pose you don't like yourself in, or your favorite side of your face, or that light situation you quickly want to get out of as a photographer. Set a frame for your images and be specific about your initial idea so you both know what is going to happen. Okay, so now we are going to talk about my personal favorite part of cosplay shootings, and this is creating a comfortable mood. And I'm going to go a bit more into depth here because it was actually requested on my Instagram to talk about how to set cosplayers, especially beginners, at ease during shooting. By the way, if you're interested, you can find the link to my Instagram profile down in the description below, and I'm happy if you come over and say hi. So let's get back into creating a comfortable mood during shooting. The cosplayer and the photographer talked about what is going to happen. This can be choosing a location or a specific scene you want to capture. To know what is going to happen is one part of getting into a level of comfort. It builds on your trust and respect for each other because it combines your both ideas and wishes. Both of your ideas and wishes. You get the point. But how to communicate during the shooting? As photographers, it's most important to constantly remind ourselves that the cosplayers can't see themselves. So what you're doing is to give feedback all the time, like constantly, especially if you haven't worked together before. And this goes both the verbal and the non-verbal way. Show the other person that you are there for them and that you recognize everything they do. Being a cosplayer myself, I often think about if this pose and expression and setting actually looks good when I'm being photographed, because I cannot see myself. And I also don't want to strike that same rehearsed pose and expression over and over again, even if I know it usually looks good. And I just feel so uncertain when I don't get feedback, even if it looks good, but I want to hear it. And this has a lot to do with the things we talked about before, trust and respect. When I know the photographer gets what is important to me and respects my wishes, I'm more comfortable and willing to follow the instructions without directly seeing the results. And one way for photographers to set the cosplayer at ease during shooting is not only to tell them what you want them to do, but also include why you want them to do this. So how to do that? In general, you tell the cosplayer what you want them to do, like strike this specific pose, this pose from this specific scene. You get what I want. You can build this up by telling them how you want them to do it, like lift your arm or look in that direction, for example. And here is where the why comes in. When you want them to make adjustments to their current posture or position, don't just say lift your arm or look this direction, but include that the arm looked oddly stretched before and this way it looks more natural, or this way the light just looks more pretty good on their face, you know? When you make changes, there's always a why, a reason behind it, otherwise you wouldn't make that change. So when you want them to make adjustments, include that reason, that why, even if it's obvious to you, because you can see that something looks strange. By giving the cosplayer the reasons behind your changes, you not only make them feel more comfortable, because they can imagine themselves now from your perspective and just get a better feeling for how they look like right now, so that they can maybe make adjustments on their own. It also gives them the feeling that you care about them and that you're actually trying to capture them the best way you can. This might not be necessary in every situation, especially if you work together often and you know how the other person functions and when you're in that focused shooting mode. But if there's a feeling of insecurity or you maybe want to create something completely new together, this way of communicating might be useful for you. And of course, we shouldn't spare nonverbal communication. We already talked about that silently staring at the screen mode. Try to avoid that silence without feedback. When you need a moment to process and overthink, then just tell the other one, and then this silence is totally fine. But when you're shooting, maybe from further away, and you're not that loud voice person, I'm definitely not, but I'm doing my best when I'm shooting large groups, for example. Use your body, use your hands to show what you're doing or what you want to adjust or that you just need a second. But try to avoid just staring at your camera. I've experienced this often as a cosplayer and it doesn't feel so good because you don't know what to do. By the way, it's always a nice side effect for the photographer to reproduce the posture of the cosplayer, because then you can see if it actually works, what adjustments you maybe want to make, if it feels good, and you get a feeling for it. And the cosplayer maybe understands better what you want them to do next. And another benefit of nonverbal communication, it can be very relaxing yet kindly intense when you reach a phase during shooting where you aren't talking at all and both of you are just very concentrated and focusing, and you just use your hands and your body to showcase what you want to do next. So we talked about why communication is the most important part of your shooting, what it includes, and how we can use it to build trust. Because this is what we want, to create unique and enriched and authentic cosplay images. Setting the other person at ease, taking away pressure, and giving them a feeling of not expecting something from each other, but of creating something new together. This is what we want. In this moment, and this is my personal way of thinking, you are both at the same level, no matter how experienced any one of you is. So try to get out of your comfort zone and shyness and open up. It will really set both of you at ease and gives you the opportunity to really get creative because of that trust and honesty you're sharing. So I'm happy if these thoughts are helpful for you, both as a photographer and cosplayer. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a subscription if you want to see more of those videos, because I have a long list of stuff I want to talk about regarding cosplay photography. And yeah, if there's something specific you would like to know, leave a comment down below, because this is how you say it on YouTube. And I'm happy that you watched this video. So thanks for watching and see you next time, folks. This sounds a bit awkward. See you next time, folks. Yeah. Oh, you're still around, right? Thanks for watching, folks, and see you next time. Yeah, this sounded a bit better.